So you brought up MK Ultra.
Yes.
MK Ultra was a government program run by the Central Intelligence Agency. MK Ultra was a mind control program, a brainwashing program. The CIA was trying to learn how to control people's behavior without their knowledge. Now, this is all came out in Senate and congressional hearings in the 70s. Their main objective was to create what they called hypno-programmed assassins, people who would kill on command. The people would be through drugs and hypnotism. The objective was to get people to go and commit an act of murder against their moral code and have no memory of their programming, and be amnesic even of the act after the fact often. That was just that was their main goal. The CIA admitted that they had done this. All the records had been destroyed.
Before we get started with today's video, remember Mad Magazine before they went all woke on us? Among other aspects of life, they would hilariously use satire to mock and expose both the left and right political parties. Well, there's another magazine that's light years beyond that. 100% independent Flip City magazine. I personally think they're better than Mad because they pull no punches. They'll take a stab at not only Klaus, Great Reset, Schwab, Gill, Final Solution, Bates, and St. Anthony Fraudstey, but they'll give you the bad and the ugly about Dennis Zio Prager, Charlie Kirk, and Dan World Economic Forum Red Flag Law Crenshaw. It's an uncensored free speech magazine from great artists and writers that you're going to love. Treating woke like the joke it actually is. There's really no magazine like it. Support these free speech heroes. Go to flipcitymag.com and get a subscription today. The link is in the description.
So this is what I want to say to the liberal media that will pick this up. We're on to you. You would have all of the patriots in here believe that they're racist when in reality, supporting the policy of disarming women, people of color, poor, working class, hardworking Americans is the most racist ideology that you could ever muster in the history of America.
Madam Speaker, I want to begin this evening by thanking my Democrat colleagues for their outstanding work in encouraging millions of Americans to celebrate their Second Amendment rights by purchasing their first, second, or even 100th firearm. From the left's riots in cities across America to Biden's threats to strip away our basic constitutional rights, Democrats are single-handedly responsible for the sale of tens of millions of firearms. Bravo. Well done. And I hear that the interest has begun to peak when it comes to the sale of F-15s. Now, I have some questions for these freedom haters. When are you going to call on the chief executive, the basement dweller, to hold his own son accountable for his gun crimes? Hunter Biden lied on a federal firearms application, which is punishable by up to 10 years and a $250,000 fine, of which 10% will not be going to the big guy. Rules for thee, but not for my crackhead Parmesan smoking gun criminal son. What about the disposal of Hunter Biden's gun in a back alley dumpster? And why was the Secret Service involved in locating this firearm? Can you just imagine for half a second if Donald Trump Jr. was involved in firearms crimes and his dad ordered the Secret Service to cover it up? That's just the start of the hypocrisy. Biden will call widely purchased firearms weapons of war, but then he'll tell you that you need an F-15 or a nuke to keep the federal government in check. He will target so-called merchants of death, but celebrate the 600 abortion clinics across America. This regime will encourage riots, defund the police, and try to take away Americans' right to self-defense.
Now we know where they want to go. We just said it. End the filibuster, expand the court, forget the Constitution. Now we know. Democrats blame guns. They criticize the NRA. They call Republicans names. But let's be honest. They've told us what they want to do. Their real beef is with the Second Amendment. Their real beef is with the Second Amendment. Think about what this bill does. Mr. Massey just outlined the 6 bills thrown into one. What this bill does, it tells law-abiding citizens when you can get a gun, what kind of gun you can get, what accessories you can get for your gun, and where and how you have to store it in your own darn home. That's what this bill does. This is an assault. This is the start. This is the start. We know it's the start because Ms. Jackson Lee, the first person to speak on their side, said this: "We're not finished." This is just the beginning. Their goal, plain and simple, is to get rid of the Second Amendment. Joe Biden said it the other day. He said he wants to ban 9mm handguns. Michael Moore said it last week. Time to repeal the Second Amendment, he said. We know where the Democrats want to go, and they don't care about the Constitution. Mr. Bishop pointed that out just a few minutes ago. They know the age limit in this bill is unconstitutional. We just had a decision last month from the most liberal circuit in the country. Said it's unconstitutional. They know the storage provisions are unconstitutional. The Heller decision said so. They don't care. Forget the Constitution. They want to change the country in so many dramatic ways. The gentleman from New York just talked about getting rid of the filibuster, packing the court. We know they want to pack the court because the chairman of this committee introduced a bill 14 months ago to pack the court. And the worst of it is, this bill would not address the tragedies we have seen unfold around the country in the last couple weeks. Would not stop the terrible events that we saw. Wouldn't harden schools. In fact, the spokesperson for the president just said last week, hardening schools is not something President Biden wants to happen, not something he believes in. I find that astonishing, but that's what she said. This bill would not stop the terrible events, it wouldn't harden schools, but it will sure take away the rights of the American people who follow the law. That's what this is all about. And it's just so wrong. But it is part of the pattern we have seen. And again, as Mr. Bishop pointed out a few minutes ago, this is the Judiciary Committee. You would think there would be the proper respect for the Constitution and for decisions reached by our circuit courts. Nope. Nope. We are so focused on taking away people's liberty. It's frightening to me when you put it all in context and you think about what the Democrats are trying to do to First Amendment liberties, now to Second Amendment liberties. This is what frightens the American people, and that's why we should vote this bill down, and we should come together as a bipartisan in a bipartisan way to figure out what we can do to help make schools safe, make sure that people are properly trained there, make sure the facility is the way it needs to be. We're all for that, but we're not for taking away this. We're not for taking away Second Amendment liberties, not for ending the Second Amendment like they want to do.
Since I took office, families are carrying less debt. Their average savings are up. A recent survey from the Federal Reserve found that more Americans feel financially comfortable than any time since the survey began in 2013.
What the hell did you just say?
Since I took office, families are carrying less debt. Their average savings are up. A recent survey from the Federal Reserve found that more Americans feel financially comfortable than any time since the survey began in 2013.
Yeah, that's right. So what they call conspiracy theory is if you lay out the same facts that they admit, except that you're against it. That's it. If you're for it, you're not a conspiracy theorist. If you're against it, that makes you a conspiracy theorist. That's really all they mean about that. In fact, the article you're referring to that appeared in the Washington Post says that, yes, this will give the World Health Organization more power. and in fact, Tedros himself, who was recently, just yesterday, reelected as president of WHO, unopposed. It's that kind of election. So the Washington Post says, yes, it's more power. But the point is, if you're against this or you're suspicious of this power, that somehow makes you a conspiracy theorist. So it's all a little bit ridiculous. As for the digital ID thing, that is absolutely real. The WHO has already given the contract to T-Mobile, the international version of T-Mobile. They have the technology. They deployed it once already in the EU. They plan to do it on a global level, so overriding all state sovereignty. And they believe they have the technology to do it. They love getting the contract, and they're gonna try to do it. And this is next on the agenda. And we know that it's probably going to be mandated, the same thing as the vaccinations in America. Now, I don't think that you ask any regular person if they think this is a good idea, they would probably say, no, that's a very bad idea. So, you're looking at a national press that's putting you and I down for being suspicious of this. I mean, anybody who has a slightest modicum of respect for human rights and freedom should be against this.
Yeah. Now we're to a point. Deutsche Telekom. This is a now you have the IRH amendments. You've got maybe the pandemic treaty, but they have an implementation program. Deutsche Telekom just doesn't. Oh yeah, no. This is something that has been worked on in a massive level of detail. Deutsche Telekom's not getting a contract, right? They're just kind of making a 3-page pitch. No, this is incredibly detailed. This is how far down the road it is. Conspiracy theory that.
With all the crazy stated plans of the Great Reset, the currency reset, and even the food reset, it's not a matter of if the store shelves are going to clear and there's a lack of food. The question is when. You need to get long-term storable food. It doesn't matter if it's from me or you just go to the store and you buy food. Just grab dry, storable food while you can. If you want to get it from me, you're going to support the channel and you're going to help yourself out because my link has a discount code embedded within it. You can check that out in the description below.